Hi everybody, my name is Alexander Alexandrov and this is my midterm project for CIS3367. I'm using a dataset that I was available to download for free from data.gov. It describes the traffic violations occurred in the period of 2014 to 2019 in the Washington DC area. I've heard many statements or articles on how a certain race or gender or certain make of a car and its color are more likely to be pulled over for a traffic violation. And I wanted to see if this holds true, at least for this data set. And few things for the dataset before I show you the analysis. It was a pretty large dataset originally, over 3 million records, and even though PowerView and PowerPivot significantly added capabilities to Excel for analysis of large datasets over a million records, Excel still doesn't like it and it's kind of slow. So what I recommend everybody doing in this case is take a sample of the data set. For example, I used a Python script to take just the top 50,000 rows, analyze it, and then based on the format and analysis that you've done for the sample, apply the same to the whole data set. It's much more easier. For example, I had 3 million records and 40 columns, and now I don't have more than 16 columns, 6 of which I created by formatting the date and time of stop columns. I extracted the day, the month, the weekday, the hour, because I needed to do analysis along these dimensions. Also, for example, for sub-agency, I had very long names, something like the violation type. And I didn't like it because I knew that when I have my graphs, it wouldn't sit well. So what I did is I use the find and select tool, and you can tell Excel the string that you want to be replaced and with the value to replace it with. It's pretty straightforward. For 3 million records it takes some time, but first you should try it just on the sample and then do it on the across the whole dataset. So pretty much that's it for the dataset. Let's look at the analysis. First of all, I have on PowerView some consistent trends. Also, there is not, even though there is nothing interesting about it, I wanted to show them because sometimes knowing that there is no any differences, it's also of value to the for the data scientists. So here it is, for example, for violation type by month and violation count by day. It's pretty consistent. Even if I add year as a vertical multiple, we can see that the trend is still consistent throughout each of the year. And also, for example, if we look at the violation count by day and we do the same thing, it's still relatively very consistent. One thing that I forgot to mention when I described the dataset is you see how my years are only from 2015 to 2018. Initially, I had data points before January 1st of 2014 and after December of 2018, and I had as a summary, as a sum, values for this for 2014 and 2019, much less occurrences than the rest of the years. And at first I thought that that's a trend, but then I realized that I have only half year for 2014 and half year of 2019. So that's something you should keep in mind because it can lead to bad analysis. And so I showed you the consistent trends, and here are some trends that I found to be different. I sliced along a weekday and hour, and I found out that during the week, Monday and Tuesday are relatively slow. when it comes to violations, but then they increase, and Wednesday and Thursday overall are particularly heavy. And along hours of the day, the later it gets in the day, the more violations there is. And what's very interesting is if you see here, for example, for 11 o'clock, I have less violations overall than for 10 o'clock, and that's for the week. But when we look on the third graph and we have it sliced on the days, we can see that, for example, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, still 10 o'clock and 11 o'clock have higher values than midnight. But then as we go towards Friday and people start going out and then they go to their bars and restaurants, favorite places for late hours or their weekend houses, they drive late and they're most likely to make violation in the latest hours. And particularly from Saturday to Sunday, we can see that this extends towards the early hours of the night. For Sunday, it's the middle of the day has less values than the beginning. That's like the early AM hours. Another interesting power view that I found is this. I call it a Mythbusters, and that's basically the topic of my analysis. I've heard how people say, "Oh, black people cannot drive, or women cannot drive, or how if you drive a red car, you are much more likely to get pulled over." So I looked at these three dimensions, and what I found is that none of them hold true. That's why I call them Mythbusters. For example, I filtered across only the accidents that were fatal, because I think that's the most important thing. Violations are not good, but when they are ending with death, that's very worrisome. So I looked only at those here, and I found out that black drivers are much less likely to have violation that ended that had a fatal ending than white drivers. Also, for example, red cars are not nearly the one that get pulled over most often. Black are the ones, followed by silver and white. Another interesting characteristics that belongs to this dataset is that women across the years have committed less than half of the violations compared to men. I think this is very significant. Overall, we can see that less violations mean better driving habits. So we can say the opposite, that women are better drivers and black people are better drivers. And if you drive a red car, you are much safer. And from here, let's look at the dashboard. Pretty much what I found out, and I'll show you only the most interesting part, is that District 4 has the more violations. The most often violation type is for failure to obey properly placed traffic signs. White people are the worst drivers with most violations, and Toyota is the most often violator. So I want to slice on district. Only district and race are color coded because only on them I want to slice. For the rest I want to see correlation. So here is district 4, and I'm going to choose alcohol yes and belt no, and we can see that this completely flips upside down the rest of the graphs. Now Hispanics are the worst performers, and Hyundai, Ford, and BMW, Toyota is not even in the list. And something interesting here is that the most often violation type is hiving on the driveway without or with suspended license, which makes me think that much of this, I don't want to stereotype, but much of these Hispanic drivers were maybe undocumented. And that pretty much concludes the analysis. You can do many different slides, but 10 minutes are not nearly enough. Thank you.